It's already started. It's following the Lakers making a huge trade, as we know, surrounding Luka Doncic. New rumors, new reports are starting to drop, already discussing his future in LA. We're going to break down these new rumors and discuss what it means going forward, as fans are absolutely fed up with what has already started to happen surrounding Luka Doncic and getting traded away from the Lakers. So stay tuned for all that in this episode, as well as a couple other updates surrounding the Lakers ahead of their next big game. But before we get into it, folks, if you're part of the 89% who are not subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. Your guys' support has been absolutely unbelievable. We just hit 16,000 subscribers. We're now on the road to 17,000 and the big goal of 20K. So if you want to help us towards that goal, make sure to hit the subscribe button. This is the place to be for daily Lakers content. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a ton to go over today. And obviously, most importantly, there is some interesting articles that have dropped surrounding Luka Doncic. And it's familiar territory. However, now that we got a young star in his prime, things are starting to get very interesting. And a couple of articles dropped, including a Sports Illustrated one, which we'll dive into in a minute here. But I want to start with this here. Lakers Luka Doncic predicted to leave Los Angeles for Rockets next summer. Now, I will preface all this by saying I don't think this is actually going to happen. This isn't a report from a reporter saying that he's likely to leave or anything like that from Brian Windhorst or any of your shams. But what it is, it highlights how every single time the Lakers, or any team really, but the Lakers specifically, have a star, there's always going to be the next step. And something to really keep in mind is over the next few months, as they, hopefully have a really successful playoff run this year, as they head into the next, offseason, how ridiculous the opposing teams' fan bases and things like that are going to be surrounding. And articles like this that are going to drop surrounding Luka Doncic, because we already saw something saying that he isn't, not necessarily that he isn't happy in LA. He seems to be very happy in LA. Richard Jefferson came out and said he's the happiest he's been. But we saw, some Brian Windhorst saying things like he hasn't really committed fully to, the Los Angeles Lakers. He hasn't fully, dived into the fact that he's going to be, and hasn't said publicly that he's going to be a Laker for the foreseeable future beyond his contract. And we've already seen some reports, and I'll start with this before we, dive into the article fully, from Brian Windhorst. Luka has 1 year left and Lakers don't get the Supermax privilege. So I would say to you, it's not a guarantee for sure that Luka is going to rip off a 5-year deal in July. He may want to see how things play out. This is, of course, at the time when he was traded. There's some other reports that have dropped more recently as well from Brian Windhorst saying the same thing. So you combine all these, reports. Now, I do think Luka is going to extend in LA. I think it's going to happen. He's going to be a Laker probably for the rest of his career, hopefully. And he seems very happy with JJ Redick. And like we'll dive into later in this video, everything looks really, really good. The Lakers are playing fantastic basketball. I'm not even here to say that this is even a possibility, but what I am saying is that the amount of articles that have dropped, Lakers fans are fed up with them, and I had to address it. You can see this here. Fan side is Elijah Hamilton recently predicted that the Houston Rockets could snag Doncic. The Rockets are one of the more exciting teams in the NBA, having built a contender through a combination of drafting young talent and signing quality veterans. Despite their start, the Rockets have found themselves linked to a number of big stars throughout the NBA and could find themselves major bidders for Luka if he doesn't sign an extension with the Lakers. And I saw a couple comments as well, in my videos, as well as around Twitter, saying that they can't wait for Luka Doncic not to sign his extension and then the Lakers to trade him to like the Magic for Paolo Banchero and things like that. I don't think that that's going to happen. That being said, depending how Luka and the Lakers look over the next few months into the playoffs, it is going to make things very interesting. And again, like Brian Windhorst said, he's saying it's not a guarantee that Luka's going to sign that, extension, because now they don't have the Supermax privilege because he was traded away from his rookie contract, all these different things, right? Or not his rookie contract, but of course he was traded away from Dallas, where he got drafted. So again, he got traded away from Dallas where he got drafted. Now he's thrown into the Lakers. He seems to love the Lakers system. He was a little bit hesitant at first. We know JJ Redick came out a few days ago and said Luka's finally over the initial shock. Everything looks good as it pertains to him being ready to go out there and play really good basketball. What's going to be next? And then boom, we see stuff about the Rockets. And it's interesting because I don't even want to discuss a trade with him to the Rockets right now or anything like that, but the fact that these articles are already dropping is a little bit wild. It says the Rockets have young players who fit Luka's timeline and could provide a terrific supporting cast with depth on both sides of the ball. The two-man games between Luka and Alfred Sengun could be a step towards title contention for the Rockets. We're talking about a guy, 25 years old, one of the best players in the NBA, one of the best players we've ever seen over the past, half decade. Or just got traded in a shocking turn of events. And now, because of the Luka trade, it's almost set a precedent. We've heard some rumblings about John Morant getting traded. We've heard rumblings about all these players getting traded because of the fact that Nico Harrison traded Luka Doncic. And it's a little bit crazy that, these players in the past would never even think about getting traded. But because of one big trade surrounding Luka, the conversation is now being held. I do want to ask you guys in the comment section to let me know. Let me know down below in the comment section. Would you trade, if Luka Doncic doesn't sign an extension this summer or whenever, would you think and start looking to trade him to a team like the Rockets with a ton of young assets, Jabari Smith Jr., Jalen Green, all these different guys? Is that something you would consider? Would you consider trading him away for a player like that and multiple players, or do you think they should have ride it out? I don't think it's ultimately going to be a problem. I think they're going to extend Luka Doncic. I think he's going to love it here. I think they're going to go on a very good run this season, especially given how well they played in their most recent game against the Denver Nuggets. And I'm not saying that's a tell-all tale surrounding what their success is going to be, but it's very interesting to say the least. And it's interesting. And again, the Rockets are linked to a lot of players, but this isn't just going to be a Rockets scenario, right? And it's another article from Sports Illustrated. Could the Rockets trade for Luka Doncic? Lakers star Luka Doncic may be open to join the Rockets if he wants another trade. And he didn't want the first trade out of Dallas, so that's a bit of a misleading headline there by the article. It's at the point now where so many different teams have obviously been linked to a bunch of stars around the NBA. But the fact that we are a month out, or a month since the trade has happened with Luka Doncic, and there's already new articles. Buckle up, because there's going to be a lot more rumors and reports flying about that, especially when you have guys like Brian Windhorst coming out and saying it's not a guarantee, and that's going to be a big question going forward. But for now, Luka's off to a very solid, respectable start with the Lakers, averaging 19 points a game, especially after his last game. He's finally starting to feel comfortable, and I'm excited to see what he can actually do going forward, alongside, of course, this season, but beyond. And I think, like Richard Jefferson said in the broadcast, he's very happy to be in LA. He seems the happiest. And again, Richard Jefferson covered him, NBA player, all these different things. He seems happier with, JJ Redick. We're seeing them laughing on the bench. JJ Redick has really started to gain some kudos from other coaches around, not only like the NBA, from Mike Malone saying that he got out coached tonight, but of course the fan base and the players as well. I think they're going to be in for a very, very interesting next few months. And I want to focus and continue to focus on the Lakers this season. But these articles drop. People were talking about it, and we keep you up to date with all the latest news. You had to cover that there. One thing before we wrap up that is extremely interesting. Shortest odds to win the title per ESPN bet. The Lakers now have jumped to the 5th best odds to win the NBA championship. And the Nuggets are at plus 1,300. The Lakers are tied with the Knicks at plus 1,600. And I want you to let me know, out of these teams, where do you think the Lakers should rank? Where do you think they will finish? All these different things. Because the biggest, despite their win against the Nuggets and Rui Hachimura's fantastic defense against Nikola Jokic, and of course, JJ Redick being able to go out there and, create a scheme that was not only very impressive, but he said he didn't even sleep. It was elite. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on the plus 1,600. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, they're at a point now where it's not now or never, because they have the offseason to go out and get a center, and that is the biggest problem, is the Jackson Hayes, who's been playing extremely well, Alex Len, Trey Jemison, those type of players as the backup center. That is the biggest issue, and that's ultimately going to be if they don't win the title, and that's why these odds are lower. If they had a Mark Williams, even though I don't think Mark Williams would have fit perfectly, especially with how he's played since he went to the Hornets following the trade getting Knicks, his defense is really bad, and he hasn't played well. But let me know down below what your thoughts are. The center is going to be the biggest issue, what you think the odds should be. We're going to keep you up to date with all the latest news, so make sure to hit the subscribe button again. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on all this.